So just got back from a fantastic long weekend training with Mr. Knees Over Toes guy, Ben Patrick himself, and just taking a few days to kind of think about the stuff and let it all percolate, the lessons I learned. So I wanted to share a few things, both from a personal side, just getting to spend time with Ben himself, from a training side, how he works with his clients, and then from a business side, how he kind of orients himself. So some of the things I picked up, it's my perception, my opinion, so this is not reflecting his thoughts or a truth of him. So take that, as it is. But from it's always interesting when you go down and you meet somebody. Like I've spent a ton of time talking to him, thinking about him, thinking of like working with him in spirit, so to speak, in the metaverse. And so getting to meet him is a totally surreal experience. As a person, one of the things that I picked up really quickly is there's a reason that Ben's so successful. He's so disciplined, so consistent, so focused. I mean, in many ways, he's got blinders on. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly what metrics he's tracking. He's focused. And he keeps his life that way. Like if something's not adding benefit to his life in a way that's meaningful towards his mission of making the world a better place, improving people's knees, giving them back their capacity, and really like working to that 14-year-old kid that he once was with a knee pain, it's not in his life. His friends are all circled around that. His people he comes to the train at the gym, they all have that same mindset. He's got his life dialed in simplicity. He goes and eats at the same place every day. He orders in. He doesn't waste time doing things that aren't high leverage for him. So that kind of sticks with it. And if you want to be great at anything, Michael Jordan-esque, you have to be that disciplined and that focused. And it's not for everybody. There's a lot of sacrifice involved, but it's a decision you make. And he's made that, and it's obviously reflecting in his ability to be successful. So, the person he demonstrates and presents himself as online is consistent with who he is in real life. And it is a powerful thing in a world where there's a lot of charlatans, there's a lot of people who kind of show one thing and then they walk one way and talk another. That's not him. So from a personal perspective of getting that and kind of that background concrete experience with him, phenomenal. It really shows a lot, and that tells a lot. So as you're thinking about your life and orienting yourself, it's like, are you disciplined? Are you working hard, or are you just talking the talk? So really lean into that, because he's getting the results because he's that person. From a training perspective, there's a few things that really stuck out. First, environment is everything. You gotta have people around you that are coming in and working hard. And that's one of the things I picked up right off the bat is when you go in there, most of the people that come in to train work for him and his staff, but the athletes that come in, they're not bullshitting around. They come in, they know what they're doing, they're focusing, there's no complaining, no negativity, they're all pushing themselves, they're all encouraging each other, they're coaching, it's back and forth. It's such an encouraging environment to be in. And so if you're trying to be a lone wolf, go into a big box gym, you don't talk to anybody, you have your headphones on the whole time, it's not the right environment for you. Sure, it's gonna cost a little bit more money to get into a place where people are pushing themselves, but that's the cost of success. And if you're training and you're not seeing the results you want, look at your environment. And if you're not surrounding yourself with people that are pushing themselves, it doesn't necessarily mean they have to be objectively stronger, faster, bigger, better than you. But right here, between your ears, that's what matters. And every single person at the gym is pushing themselves. And that's huge, because when you get around that environment, you can't not push yourself. You can't not want to be better. You cannot want to do that extra few pounds on that lift. It's huge. The other thing I noticed too is that Mr. Infinity keeps the gym a little bit warmer, and kind of like that dry sauna, if you go to a hot yoga class, it's like, it makes a difference. And obviously it's Florida, so it's a little bit warm anyways, but the gym I used to kind of keep it cool, like 60 degrees or lower, and there's a huge difference. When the environment's warm and you go in, you jump into that stuff, it's a big difference. So I've kept the gym a little bit warmer here today, got up to 66 degrees, makes a big difference for your training. So just from a literal environment standpoint, get in there, get warm, and your body will feel better. You have more mobility. It's a much better training environment to work in. And then finally, from a business perspective, the guy is consistent. He knows his message. And there's one thing that I got hammered over and over and over again was simplicity. If you're not seeing the results you want from a business perspective, it's because you're not telling the message in a way that your people can understand. So obviously not everyone has a business, not everyone's a coach, so take this for a grain of salt, but you want to think about this as like, you can't, if you're trying to help people, let's just say you're trying to go and encourage your family member, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, you're trying to encourage someone to go and do better. If they're not doing it, it's because they don't understand. Obviously, they may not want to, but they might not understand the language of why it's important for them to do. There's one thing over and over again. I put an idea for a video together and Ben said, we need more simpler. We can't use that word, can't use that word. And it's so simple. And it just kept impressing on me is that I got to get out of my own way. My ego gets in my own way of like what I think is fun, what I think is cool, what I think is interesting or educational. And instead, he is so focused on, would the 14-year-old version of me understand this? And just bringing yourself back to that. And this is the main thing when it comes to business is principles. He's got paper graphs with numbers written down for every metric you could think about. His downloads, his subscriptions, his follower counts, his money coming in, his retention count. is principles. He tracks his numbers. He's objective with what is working, what's not working. And he's got principles. If it's not simple, if it doesn't scale, we're talking about neck bridges, and it's something he goes, until I realize it's a scalable thing, I don't even include it. And then realize like something like a neck bridge is a great exercise, but until he realizes, oh, there's a scalable version that my mom could do, then I'm gonna include it. So principles, track everything, be objective. Is there a scalable thing? Would the 14-year-old version of me understand this? Those principles are what guide you. And if you're trying to do anything professionally in your life, even if it's just, let's say, a hobby you want to be good at, if you're trying to improve at a skill, if you don't have principles to follow, you're kind of winging it. And that's why you don't go from being an amateur to professional. And if the more dialed in you get on those principles, the more you're going to see that success ratchet up in your life. So there's obviously so much more than my words can put into a video to try and explain all the stuff I learned, but I gotta say that Ben Patrick's an impressive man. Definitely been a role model for mine, and he lived up to every bit of that. And excited to be able to call him a friend, and I'm excited to be able to continue to move forward in this relationship and see where else we can go to. But a fantastic weekend, and just a lot of lessons to learn. Hopefully I continue to grow on them and see where I can continue to grow and expand. But get around people that inspire you, get around people that make you better, and continue to hold yourself to an objective standard and principles that allow you to move forward, and you're gonna get where you wanna go in life.